Hi everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Jeff Geddes. I'm the Deputy Head of the Junior School at Cardinia International College. I've created this short video to explain some of the key aspects of the remote learning plan and hopefully help to sort through some of the questions that you might be having about how things are going to look and how you're going to access information during this time. First of all, so there are three parts that I'd like to talk about during this video. The first is accessing the remote learning plan on our school website. The second is our weekly learning menus. And the third is our class meetings via Zoom. So to get started, I thought I'd quickly show you where to find our remote learning plan on the school website. So if I just Google Cardinia International College, and then find us on the internet, I could scroll across here in the About, down to Remote Learning, and here are all of our remote learning plans. So there's some information about online safety, there's some more broad information about our approach, and then down here, depending on the age group your children are in, there's more detailed information in there. There's a guide for parents. If I click on this one for an example, which is information for our foundation year to year 6 students. There's information there relating to our approach, how we plan to communicate, daily routines for students, daily routines for families, daily routines for teachers. There are also some guidelines for screen time and some information relating to those types of things. Please take some time to explore this part of our website. There's lots of really helpful information in there, and many of the questions that you might be having are possibly going to be answered in that website. Okay, moving on. I'd next like to have a quick chat about the weekly learning menus. Now, I've created a little test class here and a test student, so this isn't any real, this is all myself and other teachers having a play around with Seesaw. We'll be using Seesaw as one of our really key tools to communicate information to families and to students. Curious George is in my class. This is what his Seesaw account would look like. I'm currently clicked into activities. Now, the blog is where we're going to be communicating these key pieces of information. So every Monday morning between 8 and 9, you'll have two things will be posted up on the class blog. The Zoom weekly meetings and also the learning menu for the week. Now, firstly, I'll talk briefly about the Zoom weekly meetings. Now, if that's way too small, which it is, what you need to do is just simply click on the View Original and it'll bring it up to be much closer and easier to read and understand. We've decided to place all of the meetings, all of the check-in meetings, and all Zoom meetings all on the same document. So for families who might have more than one child, they can easily see and create a bit of a plan for the week around what things can look like. You can see here that we've got K3, they'll be having a daily meeting between 10 and 10:30, and they'll do the same thing every morning. Now the purpose behind these daily check-in meetings, it's a chance for students to check in with teachers and vice versa, a chance for students to ask any clarifying questions, but most importantly, it's just a chance to check in on each other's well-being, check in, is everything going okay, and so on, and a chance for all the students to see their friends, which I'm sure they're really missing. This is also our function for taking the register. So teachers will be taking the register at this point. So if you're not able, or your child's not able to join a daily check-in meeting, if you just contact the learning group teacher by shooting them a quick email, letting them know that you're not able to join the meeting, then that will be absolutely fine. The other thing that you'll notice in the Zoom meeting schedule are some other meetings. So for example, on this mock one that I've created, there's a PE meeting for foundation year between 10 and 10:30, and it's going to be relating to PE. So Mr. Bettino would be leading that meeting, and it would be a chance for students to ask any questions that they might have that relate to the learning that Mr. Bettino has set. We're not going to be giving Zoom meeting kind of delivery of classes. These meetings are a check-in or they're a Q&A. So if you're having any problems with any of the work that's been set for the students or any of the learnings, you can save your questions and then you can ask them at these meetings. Our plan is to develop this schedule in the week before the following week. In this case, it's been developed during the holidays, ready to be posted on the first day of the week for the school week, so that everybody knows when the meetings are on and they can plan their week accordingly. We won't be having extra meetings as an add-on because that's going to be difficult for families to manage to say, well, it's already 10 o'clock and now we've just found out that there's an 11 o'clock meeting, for example. So we're aiming to give you as much notice as possible, so hopefully you can arrange your week so your children can join these meetings. All of the grade levels are included there, and the links will be embedded straight into the schedule, so they'll be able to click on the link and then simply open up the meeting and then get started straight away. That's how it should look. All right, I'll just exit out of that meeting for now because we don't need to go into all the details. All right. The next thing I'd like to talk about, which you'll find on the class blog, is the weekly learning menu. So I'll just view the original so that we can see that a little bit better. The weekly learning menu has deliberately been designed to be a weekly learning menu rather than a daily learning menu. We understand that families are under a lot of pressure at this stage, and we didn't want to create a daily learning menu, so if you missed a day of learning, then the next day you log in and then you've got 2 days of learning, maybe you missed 2 days, and we would hate for you to start to feel pressure of missing out on work and being unable to keep up. So by designing a weekly learning menu, we hope that that's given families enough flexibility to be able to work around work commitments, weekends, all kinds of other commitments that are going on in families with parents working at home and all kinds of things. So please understand that you've got a whole week to achieve any of these things, and if you need any more details, you'll be able to join those Q&A meetings to chat with teachers about any of the questions that you might have. There's some information up here for families and for students just to understand that being kind to yourself. Please keep an eye on feedback through the drafting process, and also students, please go ahead and work and engage in the optional learning engagements, but please understand that most of the teacher feedback will be focused on the learning engagements that are not optional. Okay, so the way this has been organised is that we've got the subject areas running across the top, in this case maths, reading, writing and unit of inquiry, and the next row is Japanese, music, art and PE, and the system is the same for all subject areas. We've got the learning intention, which lives up the top. In this case, it's to learn about and practice calculating perimeter. So the learning intention is basically, what's the point of the learning engagement? Why are we doing this? And in this case, it's to learn about and practice calculating perimeter. Just a little added extra information for you to know about is that all of the learning that's been designed by our teachers is the learning that's been planned since late last year and early this year, when the teachers mapped all of the learning across the whole year. For example, if you see here measuring, the Year 5 teachers, they'll be using their yearly overview and their yearly planning to understand that, okay, in term 2, week 1, we were planning to introduce perimeter and measuring. So they're the types of learning engagements that they've designed. They're not just creating things made out of nothing. We do want to follow the curriculum that we've already developed and set. So in this case, we've got the learning engagement, which is measuring your lounge room or backyard. So if we need much more information than this. So what's going to happen is you'll see there's seesaw activity, measuring your lounge room or your backyard. Now, if we go back into Curious George's account, in his little area called activities, there'll be an activity posted there that says measuring your backyard, and there'll be all the details there that have a whole heap of information for him to go ahead and complete that activity. If I come back to the blog, back to the weekly learning menu, Apologies. All right. The optional learning activities, or learning engagement, sorry, they're for families. Go ahead and choose to engage with these things and do as much as you like or as little as you like. That's completely up to families. The other thing, the last thing I'd like to talk about is the Japanese music, art, and PE. There are times when those areas, they might actually be a 3 or 4 week project. So in the Japanese example, to learn about and practice expressions and behaviors when eating at a restaurant. So the seesaw activity that you would be able to see in Curious George's seesaw activity area will be titled Eating in a Japanese Restaurant. And within that activity, there'll be an explanation to say, please watch the video, which gives you some examples of some phrases that can be used. Practice with your family over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Then create a video which demonstrates you using those phrases in Japanese, and you'll be posting them up in your journal for your teacher to be able to view. If there are any learning engagements in amongst this weekly learning menu that you don't understand or you're having a lot of trouble with, really we urge you to please get in touch with the teacher who's posted the work. The learning group teacher is your first point of call. Please get in touch with them. We're all here to support. We think that this is a challenging time, but it's a time that we've planned for and a time that we think that we can succeed with. If you have any questions relating to the plans, the remote learning plans, you could get in touch with your learning group teacher, and if they're not too sure, then they'll be in touch with one of the junior school leaders. Thanks so much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you online. Thank you.